This is sort of when you enter a corporate job. Let's say you get hired by Google or Inuit or some big company. The manager would probably try to get you on board as quickly as possible. What they say is like hit the ground running, so that you're already onboarded and you don't have to learn too many new things, because that's going to take like maybe 2 to 3 months, and you're supposed to ask a lot of dumb questions, as many as you can in the beginning. That's easy, but also they might give you something like this 30, 60, 90 day plan. That's like very manager thing to do. Then you write down your goals and you think what you can accomplish, and then you have a meeting with everyone, so like even the higher ups, the CEOs in the company. You have lunch with them, discuss that plan, so they don't have to hold your hands. They can just agree, this is a good start, this is a good goal, and then you can like mark it off, and you don't have to talk to them every day, because they want to not hold your hand too much in the beginning. So it's like a management plan. So sometimes you have to be creative, and the deadline is tomorrow, so maybe you don't feel like it. So Picasso said, good artists copy, great artists steal. What he means, I think, is that you can copy other ideas, but if you really own that idea, if you really completely steal it for yourself, then it's not a copy anymore, it's your own. You really literally stole it. Of course, I have to mention the mood boards again. I think it's a quick thing, but if deadline is tomorrow, maybe you don't have time to do a big mood board for things. So this is Paula Scher. That was like highly discussed about did she steal the poster by the Swiss artist Arvin Matter, I think his name. I can look it up. But it was sort of a homage. She showed it to his foundation. He's not alive anymore, but the foundation supported her to make, because he's kind of undervalued. He wasn't that popular anymore, even though he was one of the greatest Swiss graphic designers. So they agreed that it's okay for Swatch, the watch, to run an advertising campaign that she designed that looks really pretty much identical to his original posters. And then there are other styles that steal on purpose. It was like part of the punk rock movement to steal the Sex Pistols cover, the Queen's image, for example. Or this cover by Peter Saville, and he took this picture out of a science book, and it became a very famous record cover. All right, here's an example of something that I copied a style and hopefully stole it. And so I was inspired by these old typewriter graphics, because this owner of this building was very much into this kind of 60s, 70s art, and the typewriters at that time were like a new invention, like the new technology, and they thought that the letters were so pretty that they made them really, really big, unusual for a typewriter that you usually very, very small. But Olivetti was convinced that their typewriters' glyphs were so beautiful that they would make them really large, and he used this photo setting technique to print them large. And I thought this could be a good inspiration for a poster for a real estate developer called Sage. So I showed them this at first. They thought that this wasn't enough, that the words Sage weren't readable enough as a word. They liked it, but they thought, like, could you push it a little bit? We like to see that the word actually spelled out. They didn't really like their logo as much, but it's also sort of very 60s looking, I would say. Do you remember that pop art sculpture in Midtown that says love? So it all sort of the same time as well. It fits. But so the next step was I spelled it out. I made it look like that. Remember that sculpture in Midtown that spells out love by the pop artist? What was his name? I can look it up. And so they also did like that and the colors, but they showed it to their boss now. And he was like, but I need to see my buildings. I'm so proud of them. You need to work them into the ad. And then I give you some good photos that I have. So he gave me a bunch of pictures, and I did this, and I never showed it to them because I hated it, because I thought it was dark and boring and something just didn't fit right. So I inverted everything. It's a technique that I also learned from Manabu. Often he looked at designs and then he inverted the entire design just to see how much white and negative space there was that you didn't really recognize before. Now I could work with it, and I tweaked it a little bit and made different pictures a little bit. So at the end, they signed this off, and I think they really liked it. So another one of my tricks is, or something that I do regularly is to get moving, is by writing down everything I need to do in the day. It's also good to keep this notebook for future references. If I need to know how long did this project really take, how many hours did I work on it, did I write down, or did I bill all these hours, or later on they come back to me, like how long will it take to make this similar website. I can really look up and see like the last time it took this long, so that's what my estimate is. But I'm also going down and I do 5 steps on each of the bullets, maybe not really in direct order, but it could be in order if I really hated it. But even if there's something on the list that I really try to avoid not to do, and I find other reasons to do something else first, but I force myself to do those 5 steps. And usually after the 5 steps, you roll into it and it gets easier. And then in the end, you don't want to even like stop anymore and do the next thing. But also at the end of the list, I get up and maybe I clean 5 things off my desktop. Actually, that was one of the rules I put on there too. And also, I get up and do the dishes, or I take a walk, or I relax and do something else besides sitting on the computer all day, because it will slow you down after a while. Another technique is, it's called the bake the cake. Put all the ingredients onto the artboard and then start moving them around into position. Which is not so hard for us designers to do, because we're kind of trained to organize things. It's like the Tetris game. You move all the blocks so they fit, and there's no other way that this could possibly be used more efficiently. And after that, you just have to decorate that cake, and then you're done. But if it's too easy sometimes, this is Christopher Niemann, and he used to live in New York, and now he's in Berlin. But he wrote, if there's something that is too easy, then it's suspicious, because the outcome could be not as well. As I do remember that there were like times where I was really struggling on a job, and those sometimes were the best results at the end, which is kind of sad to say that I had to struggle to do great work, but sometimes it's worth that struggle, I think. And he also says that you cannot like be an artistic genius every day, but it's if you have a routine, like having to write the list down, or having some other kind of routine to do this on a regular basis, just keep going and going. It's like training, but this will help you not to go insane about it. Also, yeah, like I said, you cannot work in a very, very long time stretch without getting tired and unconcentrated. So taking a walk, what you could do during the walk is you could talk into your phone and already write down the thoughts about a project, the proposal that you have to write, the telephone the call that you need to make, or you can write down all your thoughts that you have to describe or document something in your blog post. And after you transcribe your recording, you already have halfway done. You have all the ideas on paper, and you just need to sort of organize them into better sentences and write it down, so that the core building structure will be already settled down. And you did this all while you're like walking home. It looks a little weird when you talk into your phone on the street, but this is New York, it doesn't matter, nobody cares. And also people actually do have phone conversations on walking around, so it doesn't look as weird as it used to. There's this book called Deep Work. I read it. It's kind of I don't know if I would recommend it. It's like one of those self-help books, but they said that you really can only concentrate for 4 hours in the tests, and in those 4 hours you should turn off all of the other distractions. No social media, no telephone calls, no checking email. Don't just even quit your email program. Give yourself 4 hours to work, and the rest of the day then you can update your social media stuff, and you can do all the stuff that's like something that's more superfluous that you don't need to concentrate as hard on. But if you have a project that you really need to have all the intention, then just schedule yourself those 4 hours, maybe take a break in between, but don't be distracted by anything else in between. And after that, it's a great thing to have 2 mornings. If you have a siesta in the middle, and I think Germans even do that, take a break. And then you have the afternoon, and it starts like a new day. Like you have new energy to do it. So I really recommend getting into a habit of taking that break in the middle of the day, have a little siesta, and then start up again.